Welcome to Learn with Saim. In a world full of noise, there lived a boy who had nothing to say. Not because he didn't want to speak, but because he didn't know how. He lived in a small village, surrounded by people who judged more than they helped. He sat quietly in school, afraid to speak, afraid to pronounce, afraid to be laughed at. They called him mute. But deep down, he was just waiting for the right words to grow inside him. This is the story of a boy who spoke silence before speaking English. Kamar, the boy who spoke silence before English. A deep, motivational story for anyone starting their English learning journey. Introduction. Silence before words. Before we learn to speak, we learn to stay silent. Not because we want to, but because we're afraid. Afraid of being wrong. Afraid of being laughed at. Afraid of trying and failing. For many, learning English feels like standing in the middle of a big crowd, with no words to say. You hear others speak, you admire them, but when it's your turn, silence takes over. This story is about Kamar, a simple boy from a simple village. He had no support, no resources, and no confidence. But what he did have was a dream to speak English, not just fluently, but fearlessly. The beginning of Kamar's journey. Kamar grew up in a remote village, surrounded by kind people, green fields, and dusty roads. But there was something missing in his world: English. It wasn't just another subject in school. It was a symbol of intelligence, status, and opportunity. Whenever an English news bulletin played, his family changed the channel. Whenever an English sentence came in a book, he skipped it. Whenever someone tried speaking English, people laughed. So Kamar did what everyone else did: he stayed silent. Until one day, something changed. The spark. A single word. It was late at night. Kamar was watching an old Hollywood movie on a small TV. He didn't understand a thing, just the emotions and expressions. But then, a line caught his attention. A character said, "Thank you." The way he said it, confidently, respectfully, made Kamar pause the movie. He whispered the words, thank you," again and again. He didn't know what it meant. But it sounded strong. It sounded beautiful. That night, Kamar didn't sleep. He opened his old schoolbook, searched the Urdu meaning, and wrote it down. Thank you equals shukriya. That one word became his first key to a locked world. Learning with nothing but willpower. Kamar didn't have a laptop. His smartphone was slow. Internet was weak. But his desire to learn was stronger than every excuse. He started searching on Google. Basic English sentences. How to speak English fluently. Learn English at home for free. He downloaded apps like Duolingo. He watched videos with subtitles. He followed beginner pages on social media. And he wrote everything in a small diary, which became his treasure. Speaking to mirrors, walls, and himself. He didn't have anyone to practice with. So Kamar used what he had, himself. Every morning, he stood in front of a cracked mirror and said, "Good morning, my name is Kamar. How are you today? I want to learn English." He felt silly at first. He mispronounced words. But slowly, those lines became smoother. His tongue became familiar with new sounds. He started thinking in English, even if only a few words. The struggles no one saw. People laughed when he tried to speak in class. Relatives mocked him for acting smart. Even friends said, "Ye English tuja nahi aani." He felt pain. He felt alone. But he never gave up. He used the pain as fuel. He started waking up earlier, studying when the world was asleep. He watched English cartoons, not because he liked them, but because they were slow and clear. He wrote his thoughts in English, one broken sentence at a time. The day that changed everything. One day, a group of foreign tourists came to his village. People stared from a distance. No one dared speak. But Kamar walked up, nervous, sweaty, shaking. He smiled and said, "Hello, sir. Welcome to our village. My name is Kamar." The tourist smiled warmly and replied, "Nice to meet you, Kamar. Your English is great." Kamar's heart exploded with joy. It was only a few words. But for him, it was a victory after a long war. From student to example, as months turned into years, Kamar grew stronger. His English wasn't perfect, but it was real. He could introduce himself, share his thoughts, ask questions, even help others. He began posting short videos, helping other village students learn basic English. People who once mocked him now sent him messages. Bye, mujhe bhi sikhao. Kamar, aapki videos ne meri zindagi badal di. Kumar had become something he once dreamed of, a helper, a hope, a hero. Conclusion. The voice within. Kumar didn't have a classroom. He didn't have a tutor. He only had a choice, to stay silent forever, or speak, even with mistakes. He chose to speak. Your story starts now. You don't need to be perfect to start speaking English. You don't need money, or a teacher, or even confidence. You just need one decision. I will try, I will learn, I will not stop. Let Kumar's story remind you. If he can do it with almost nothing, you can do it with what you have. Start with one word, repeat it, use it, make mistakes, and speak from your heart. Because the world needs your voice, in English, in any language, but most of all, with courage. Dear learners, never underestimate the power of your silence. Inside you is a speaker, a leader, a learner, waiting to rise. Speak English with mistakes, speak with confidence, and if you don't have confidence, pretend, and it will grow. Because one day, people will say about you, this is the person who turned silence into strength. Keep learning, keep speaking, keep believing. This is Learn with Saim, and your voice matters.